fantastic Grand Prix that was, didn't it? It has absolutely everything. Drama right at the start, a dry track, rain pouring down, absolutely going chaos, a crash, safety car, a red flag, restart, rolling restart, action all the way throughout that race. You just couldn't take your eyes off it, was it? There's something always going on throughout that race. A brilliant circuit, and we've got a really surprise podium, didn't we, at the end? Could never have predicted that. I mean, apart from Max Verstappen winning, of course, just like a given that every race weekend he turns up, but he was absolutely phenomenal. Fernando Alonso, a P2, was absolutely brilliant, wasn't he? The wily old fox at it again. I mean, what shocks me is that why he's still not at a big team is beyond me. He's still got everything in the locker despite his age. I mean, he should really be in there, and I'd really kind of like to see Max Verstappen and Fernando Alonso in the same team. For part of me, that would be absolutely brilliant, kind of like what we see with him and Hamilton. I think that would be fantastic. And Pierre Gasly, shout out, brilliant for the Alpine team after a horrendous last few weeks, hasn't it? A P3, he matches Ocon's Monaco podium as a season best for the team, but Ocon has been absolutely brilliant. Like I said in my mid-season review, he's been phenomenal so far this weekend, hasn't he? And he was absolutely lively in the race, wasn't he? He made all the right strategy calls. And he was, even despite a 5-second penalty as well, he still got into that podium position. He made the moves when he had to. He defended well throughout, and it was just absolutely brilliant to see that car come alive. And on the other hand, another shout out to Liam Lawson as well in his first Grand Prix. Beats his teammate Yuki Tsunoda up into 13th place. Yuki finished 16th in the end. A fantastic job from him. He's had literally one practice session straight into the qualifying, and even in the race he was on it, wasn't he? A fantastic move for him to remember on Charles Leclerc, despite Leclerc having some car issues, of course, but you can't take that away from him. And he was, there or thereabouts. He wasn't just running around last. I mean, he's come in, and I think he's probably done a better job than, I would say, Logan Sargent done in Williams so far. I mean, that's a pretty fantastic job. Much better than what we've seen other drivers do in their first race, and with such little timing or behind the wheel of that car. Hats off to him. Fantastic job he's done. And let's get to the 3 good and the 3 bad of the race. And like I say, it's Pierre Gasly's 3rd place performance was absolutely phenomenal. After a big restructure at that team, they've come back. How much they would have had an impact into this, I'm not so sure, but the strategy team behind there, who probably remains a constant from what was there from before, did a fantastic job, didn't they? And I think these mixed conditions really helped that car come alive. Fantastic for him. Alonso in the P2, like I said, he was mega, absolutely mega. Right at the start, even in the dry, he made the moves. He was up into 2nd, 3rd place behind the 2 Red Bulls. He made the moves on the 2 McLarens. He was fantastic as the mixed conditions and the rain came down. He was on it. He made the call probably a lap later than Perez, but he still did the right call. We've seen other teams just carry on despite all that rain coming down. And then even when the second, before the red flag, even the 2 Red Bulls went in for the wet tyres, and he just hung it out on the inters, which was fantastic to see. And it's a shame actually that he was just a bit far behind Max Verstappen, because there was a chance that he could have come out in the lead and stayed in that lead if he'd just managed to keep around faster when Verstappen made that second stop for the wets. And then they made a bit of a strategy error, didn't they, the Red Bull team, with Perez at that stage, but that's going off point. But he did a fantastic job staying out on the inters. Probably were thinking that, look, this might turn into a red flag, it's a free stop from there and a chance to gain up positions, and boy, he did that, didn't he? Got into that 2nd place ahead of Perez. Fantastic job from him. And then the other one is Lewis Hamilton, I'm going to give it to him because despite an absolutely shocking strategy call to not come in onto the Inter tyres, even after lap 1 when we seen, fair enough, he didn't get it quite as good as Perez did, but he's been further down the back of the field, so I kind of expected him to, one of the ones to gain the most in these scenarios. Look at what the Haas team did with Magnussen and Zhou Guanyu in the Alfa Romeo team. But the Mercedes team got that really, really wrong. But despite that, and then at that point he ended up last. That Mercedes had real pace this weekend, and they were absolutely fantastic. Good recovery drive up into P5. Shame he just didn't have enough laps to get past the Carlos Sainz, who was slow in that Ferrari, up into that 5th place. But a really good recovery drive from Lewis Hamilton. And it should be really 4 or 5, isn't it? Because it's 5 good, because Liam Lawson deserves a real shout out. Fantastic job. To beat your teammate in your first race with just 1 practice is, just phenomenal. Alex Albon, as well in that Williams team, made the wrong call. They made it really wrong, didn't they? They were so far and just kept going on the slicks, didn't they? They didn't switch to the Inters. It just kept running out and just went so long onto them. But to still recover back and get a P8 performance from that Williams team, they've been mega this weekend. The big surprises for me, fantastic. And the 3 bad, I'm going to go with Sergio Perez. He was really poor, despite that fantastic call to go onto the Inters. He had a 14-second lead, which was wiped down to about 3 seconds within 2 or 3 laps. And to be 2.5 seconds, 3 seconds a lap slower than your teammate when you're both on the same tyres, it's just beyond me. I don't understand it. He was like 1.2, 1.3 seconds behind Max Verstappen in qualifying as well. So he's just been so slow and slow off the pace. He really needs to get his act together. He was shocking throughout that race. The second bad for me is going to be Charles Leclerc. He's had a stinker of a weekend, hasn't he? He crashed in qualifying. He was poor in the race. He made an early mistake. He got a touch with, I think it was one of the McLarens early on. He then went off wide and onto the gravel, and I think that really damaged the underneath of his car. He lost a lot of performance, eventually retiring. It's been a poor weekend for the Ferraris. They weren't anywhere in the race neither. They were just getting past sitting dummy. They were just like roadblocks. Everyone just waiting to get past them throughout, and it's a big weekend coming up for them in Monza, the home race. So they've got a lot to do, haven't they, the Ferrari team? So it'll be interesting to see what they can try and do to revive their season, despite what Belgium a P2 for him. So it's surprising how vastly their performance changes. And then comes Lance Stroll for me in P11. Again, look what his teammate is doing. His position is probably as bad as Sergio Perez's in my view, where he's just getting absolutely hammered by his teammate. And showing what the car should really be capable of, and he's just nowhere near ever of making the most of that. And that's something that really, he needs to sort out, or the team needs to make some changes in that. And the other probably 1, 4 or 5 bad, probably the McLarens, isn't it? Is after a really promising qualifying session, right up there at the front with the 2 McLarens, the race just went downhill, wasn't it? It was kind of a bit like Belgium, where they just went backwards. Didn't make the right call early doors, and that cost them. But we've seen recoveries from the other teams that did that. But McLarens just weren't fast at any stage throughout this week race at all. I'm not sure what had gone on wrong there, but it's a big weekend. It can all change for Monza next weekend, high speed circuit. I think that should suit them slightly better. It should probably suit the Williams better there. So we should be in for another mix. Who can predict what's going to happen behind in second place? It's absolutely fantastic racing every weekend we go, apart from Max Verstappen winning up front. And a shout out to him. He was absolutely fantastic. He pulled off the qualifying lap when it counted yesterday. In the race today, he was they're probably a lap too late on the call for the Inters, but no panic, knuckle down, and to be at one point 4 seconds a lap faster than Sergio, Perez, you know, and the early stages of the race. And from there, it just looked like the racing was never in doubt. He just managed everything that was thrown at him with all the mixed conditions, safety car, red flag, rolling starts. Yeah, cannot say much more than that. Fantastic achievement to get in the 9 consecutive race wins. You know, that's a massive achievement, and you know, Red Bull have done that twice now with Seb Vettel and Max Verstappen. So you know, the other teams really need to get their act together on that front. You cannot fault it. I cannot see it being anyone else but him making it 10 race wins in a row at Monza, unless something really happens to him catastrophic. You know, I can't see driver error coming. It looks like more like a reliability issue that might take him out, or someone taking him out is the only way you can see someone stopping him this season. He's been absolutely phenomenal. You know, brilliant. Just enjoy it while he's still here. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe and comment as always. Watch out for the driver ratings video that's going to come up shortly in the week, and the preview for the Monza Grand Prix, a race that I absolutely love. Can't wait for us to go there next weekend. It's coming thick and fast. See you then.